are still peculiar in church. So it's about standing out and standing out for the right reasons and saying, well, guess what? I will be that example. You know what I mean? And I will show that actually this is the old school way is still a good way to go. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know why I feel like that question is a bit weird. Because why is there modern worship? Why is there such a thing as modern worship? Do you know what I mean?
I think because so I think people, they look at Christianity and they think, oh, it's outdated and it needs to keep up with the times. So, they'll do certain things, or they'll go to certain places, or they preach about certain things to try and keep up with society, when the Bible tells us that God is the same. He remains the same. He doesn't change. He was the same yesterday, today, and forever. That's point blank, period. But in our minds, we think, oh, Lord, well, they're not going to accept you if it doesn't look how society says it should look. And I think that's what we do in a lot of things as well, with ourselves, with our family, everything like that. Like, we look at society and it's like, if it's not up to their standards, then, I got to throw the whole thing away. I got to start again, Jesus. Like, but it's not like that. At the end of the day, like, there shouldn't be a modern worship. You're right. Like, it is weird to, like, modern worship. Yeah. But if you look at it, and you look how the church has come, like, how far the church has come and how things have changed, you know what I mean? You'll see, like...
It's completely different.
It's completely different.
Completely different.
So, I think Yahdah is necessary in worship, period.
Exactly, period.
It's just... There's not a... You can't categorize it and say, oh... We've outgrown lifting our arms up, guys. We don't have to do it anymore. Let's strike it out the Bible.
And it's like, this is going to be deep, but like I feel like people put other things first. Yeah. So people put their image first.
Yeah.
People put their makeup first, or the weave, or the edges. Or they're the nice blazer that they just got from River Island. They don't want to pop out the stitching and whatever. So,
well, first off, you popping out stitches, it's too tight. Get your life.
But I feel like people put that first before worship, and I feel like if we came ready for worship, prepared for worship, then so those things wouldn't matter.
You say like it's like an expectancy then, because when you come to church or whatever, like you always have an expectancy. So if you wear a certain outfit, or you have are you coming with the expectancy that you're actually not going to worship then?
Well, put it this way: if I come, like you just said, in a blazer that I can barely lift my hands in, and I knew that before I left my house, and I'm wearing a top that if I lift my hands too high, my belly's going to be showing, and I've got a pencil skirt on so tight that if I bend over too tough, it's going to split out. I'm not come to church to worship. I don't feel like you've come to church to worship.
Going back to what we've said about worship, though, like it's a heart thing. So I could be in those clothes and still be worshiping, right?
You could.
I feel like
where's the freedom? You're restricting yourself because if you can just lift your hand to here because your attire is not I wouldn't say suitable because it doesn't mean it's unsuitable, but it's about being free. Like you're free to dance, you're free to worship, you're free to sing, you're free to if you want to lift your hands right up in the air, you can lift your hands up in the air and say yes, God. But if we're in a position where you can't even do that, you're not even giving yourself the option to do that, then you're almost suppressing yourself.
Because it's like, where's your heart at? Like the posture of your heart, is it like for worship, or is it to make an appearance, or you know what I mean? Like, even though like you can come, and then sometimes it happens where that people come like, oh, I wasn't expecting that today. But why weren't you expecting that today? You're coming to church to worship. Why weren't you expecting the move of God? Like it goes back to expectations. Because if you're saying, well, it only happens once in the blue moon, A, number one, why, and A, number two, like, why don't you come with that expectancy? Like, it should be a weekly thing. Like, you're coming to get refreshed, to carry over to the next week, to fill you up so that you can go out into the world and that you can pour out into other people. Yeah. So why is that when you come to church, you're not expecting to get filled? You're not expecting to receive anything. So to me, that's a deeper issue than the whole situation of what you wear and stuff like that. I think it's a bigger issue of expectations and expectancy rather than, outfit changes or whatever.
Definitely.
But is it okay to not perform this type of praise?
Okay, by whose standards?
No, I mean, I I think it means
like if we don't do it.
Yeah, like is it okay? Like okay, if I'm in church, right? Is it okay that I don't want to? Not that I don't want to. Is it okay that I don't lift my hands?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
why not? But if you think of it from a me, because you're not hurting anybody. You can't withhold it you can't make God less God because you're not lifting your hands.
Yeah.
You're not harming physically the worship leader. You're not going back to it meaning surrender, all that means is, and sometimes all you need is a physical representation of what is happening on the inside, saying I'm surrendering, put up my hands. But if you think of it like this, if the police ask you, show me your hands, lift up your hands, and you don't lift up your hands, they're going to assume you've got something to hide. They're going to deal with you in a more hostile way. Whereas if you show your hands straight away, it gives them the peace of mind to know that you've not got anything and they don't deal with you in such a hostile way. So it's kind of a you thing.
Yeah.
It's not hurting anybody physically, literally. No. But if you know you've got a heavy heart, you've got a lot on your mind, you come to, the kids were acting the fool, your husband was acting the fool, there was stupid drivers on the way to work, the parking attendant gave your spot to somebody else, how dare he? Who does he think he is? The greeter at the door didn't spot. You've got a lot going on. Your work week was bad, there's this person in the office you really don't like and you have to look at them every day. You've got a lot of things going on, and you come into church and you're sitting there, you're literally holding on to that as if it can hurt God. So it's okay if you don't do it. Of course, it's bearing down on your mental health and your spiritual health. Fine, that's on you. But as soon as you lift your hands and say, God, the kids were acting a fool, my husband's acting a fool, everything's just going wrong, but I'm here to worship, and you throw up your hands and you're like, wow,
I feel free.
Yeah. So it releases it. I feel like it releases you, and also when your hands are up, you're more conscious of the fact that your hands are in the air. So you're like you go along with it as well. So yeah, it's okay if you don't want to do it. You ain't hurting nobody.
So what about, so like what if like people are in church and like we're having the service or whatever, and like there's this whole thing where like it's like a unison thing where the chorus comes on and everyone was like what, like if you don't lift up your hands in that unison, like if you don't feel led to, is that okay?
Yeah,
I feel like it's okay.
Yeah,
because sometimes like people like lift their hands out of routine or because this is the favorite part of the song.
Let me stop you there. There's this song and it says, I lift my hands in total surrender.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Lift your hands.
No, but I'm saying, okay, no, it depends on what song you sing it. I get what you mean though, but I'm saying like, okay, if everyone's lifting their hands at the exact same time, like it's like, literally unified, and then if you don't feel led to, I feel like that's okay because you have to be led by the Spirit, and I feel like if you're feeling out of the time, like Lord, you know what, I don't really feel led to lift up my hands at this particular time.
Do what you want.
Like I feel like you should be free to do that.
That is a part of the freedom of worship, is that you don't have to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah,
you can feel free to do what. You can feel free to do what because that happens to me sometimes. Everybody's got their hands up. I got my head bowed and my eyes closed. It's like, that's how I feel that I want to present my worship in this moment. Yeah. So yeah, it's okay.
And I think on the back of that as well, sometimes you're out, like you said, you're at that place where it's just like everything's on top of you. You might not even feel like you want to worship. And I feel like it's about, sometimes you have to just kind of say, lift your hands. You have to talk to yourself and lift your hand. This is what you need. Do you know what I mean? So not to get that confused with, I don't want to follow everybody else lifting their hands. Yeah. But in a sense of, you need to encourage yourself sometimes, because sometimes your flesh, your mind's going to be like, nope, I don't want to.
We're not doing this
today. And it's not what you need, and it's not that you're following everybody else. It's just that you're overwhelmed at that time.
Yeah.
I think it just depends. I'm like that too. Like even like when I see people at church, and it's like people look at you side eye if you don't.
Who?
Sometimes, like, certain people in church, like, when you're
hands
standing
should be
there,
up.
no, listen, because I want to address this. I gotta get this off my chest.
Okay.
At the end of the day, okay, when you're in church, yeah, this is why I feel like sometimes we make it awkward for people who newly come to church, yeah, because when you're in church, one of the main signs that you're worshiping is when your hand is lifted. One of the main outward signs.
Okay, yeah.
Main outward signs that you're worshiping, quote unquote worshiping, is when you lift your hands. People are like, oh, she's worshiping because my hands are like this, right? But if I'm standing here and I'm quiet and I'm looking down and like, okay, like I'm enjoying the peace of God, certain people assume that you're not worshiping or that you're not in tune or that something's wrong. No, because people have come up to me and said certain things to me about that.
I feel like that's not right. In the
No,
sense,
of course it's not right.
When I say it's not right, I mean in the sense of where are they at to say that to you, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
Because I witness people in church who don't lift their hands in worship. They just fall to the floor and bow.
Yeah.
They literally just bow down.
Yeah, but this is why we talk about different types of worship, because I feel like a lot of times people look at you, and if you don't lift up your hands, which is one of the most common things, you're not worshiping. You're not taking part of the service. You're not actively being a part of the worship. You're just standing there, being a spare part. But you don't know the condition of my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't know that the posture of my heart may be in the posture of worship.
Wouldn't you then just accept your freedom in your worship style, knowing that
you know.
No, I'm not talking about for me. Yeah, I'm not talking about for me, but I'm talking about for other people. Like,
yeah,
people
but you can let go of their
of course,
assumptions,
yeah.
their feelings,
opinions. But this is the thing, yeah, because I can, because obviously, girl, I don't care. If I'm crying, let me cry. If I'm on the floor, leave me be. But at the end of the day, other new Christians who come into church and they're like, oh, well, like, maybe I don't know how to, or,
I think
whatever.
I think they just need to grow. They just need to grow. Yeah. They just need to grow comfortable in their worship.
But sometimes that can hurt somebody.
I feel like that's a deeper issue, though.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a collective.
It's a collective, and it's a self. But I'm saying, like, because it's not what you say to somebody, it's how you say
That's
it.
True.
And if somebody came up to you and you're fresh, you know what I mean? Because you know how we were. We were brought up in church. But somebody who wasn't brought up in church... Okay,
it's true.
And then they don't worship.
Yeah,
you know how you stereotypically how worship should look like, and then somebody says that to them, that can stunt their growth. Because then they're going to be looking at themselves in that kind of self doubt and that self reflection. Well, maybe I should worship like this person, or maybe, and then you start kind of trying to mimic somebody else's worship because you think that that's how worship is conceived.
I feel like that is really important, because you got to think that people are coming from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And they're coming from different scenarios. You got people coming that's been bullied all their life. And even though we do read that scripture say, we are a peculiar nation, that takes a while to get a hang of.
It really
You understand?
It
Because
really does.
I remember reading that scripture when I first came to Christ. And I was like, we're a peculiar nation. But still, things still hurt me.
Yes, sir.
People wasn't happy with what I was saying, or people wasn't, oh, she dressed this way, or she looks this way. I was still upset. I was still like, how It's not until now that I'm kind of like, I don't care. I don't care what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely, I think that we have to be careful. And it's not about attacking someone and saying, you ain't doing this right, you're not doing that right, but educating and teaching and saying, okay, well, what is it? Oh, you are actually worship. Okay, well, I'll leave you to it. That's your style, do you know, rather than attacking someone and saying, you're all right, welcome to, you're sick.
Exactly,
you know what
like
I mean?
assuming things.
We need to pray for you. You're not in the right place. It's like, how do you know the posture of my heart?
Exactly.
That is very important, what you said about educating people, because a lot of the time it's just pure ignorance.
It is.
And I remember one of the times when I was at church and we were literally going through near enough this same series of worship, and that's why I lift my hands in worship, because the pastor said at the time, when you lift your hands, it's like surrender. I'm like, okay, cool, I want to do that. Do you know what I mean? So it's when you know why you're doing these things, that's when you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to do it because of this. And so I think there's a lot to be done.
Yeah.
Towards the education of
the church
and
and how to worship.
everything, not just worship, a
But
lot
yeah,
of
everything,
stuff.
yeah.
Everything.